Hollywood has gone through massive changes. Studios have risen and fallen, stars have come and gone, and movie trends constantly shift. But the biggest change? The rules. Classic films avoided swearing, violence, and anything inappropriate. Then, in 1969, censorship loosened, giving filmmakers total creative freedom. While this led to groundbreaking films, Hollywood's golden age also produced unforgettable classics, many of which are unfairly overlooked. Casablanca remains iconic, but countless hidden gems deserve more attention. So, let's uncover 15 underrated classics from Hollywood's golden age. She Done Him Wrong, 1933. She Done Him Wrong might not always get the spotlight, but make no mistake, it's one of the most fearless and risque films to come out of pre-code Hollywood. With the legendary Mae West commanding the screen as the seductive nightclub singer Lady Lou, this film breaks the mold of its time. West oozes confidence, sharp wit, and an unapologetic charm in an era when female characters were often watered down or pushed to the sidelines. Beyond its scandalous edge, this film played a crucial role in catapulting Cary Grant to fame, giving him an early chance to flex his comedic skills. It also solidified Mae West as a Hollywood powerhouse. Despite its box office success, She Done Him Wrong is shockingly overlooked in discussions about trailblazing films. Its daring take on female empowerment and clever wordplay make it one of classic Hollywood's most underrated treasures. The Awful Truth, 1937. The Awful Truth is one of the sharpest, wittiest screwball comedies to ever hit the screen. This gem pairs Cary Grant and Irene Dunne in a whirlwind of chaos, following their hilariously dysfunctional divorce as they go out of their way to ruin each other's new relationships. The tension, off the charts, the antics, pure comedic gold. What truly sets this film apart is its free-flowing, almost unscripted energy. Director Leo McCarey pushed Grant and Dunne to improvise much of their dialogue, creating an effortless, playful chemistry that feels spontaneous and electric. Every scene is packed with razor-sharp banter and brilliantly executed physical comedy, the kind that screwball comedies are famous for, but here, it's done to perfection. Cary Grant's comedic timing is at its peak, especially in moments where he stumbles, fumbles, and reacts with wide-eyed disbelief to Lucy's outrageous schemes. But underneath the humor, the film cleverly challenges the usual rom-com formula, offering unexpected depth in its exploration of love, trust, and second chances. Despite McCarey's Oscar win for Best Director and a nomination for Best Picture, The Awful Truth still doesn't get nearly enough credit. Its bold, improvisational style and razor-sharp wit make it one of Hollywood's best-kept comedic secrets. Belle, Book and Candle, 1958. Belle, Book and Candle is a spellbinding mix of romance, fantasy, and mischievous magic, but somehow it never got the love it truly deserved. Released in 1958, this hidden gem re-teamed James Stewart and Kim Novak right after their intense work in Hitchcock's Vertigo, but this time they swapped suspense for enchantment in a delightfully offbeat love story. Stewart plays Shep Henderson, a straight-laced publisher who has no idea he's fallen under a literal love spell. His mysterious and bewitching neighbor, Gillian Holroyd, Novak, just so happens to be a modern-day witch, and she's used her magic to steal him away from his fiancé. But here's the twist. The more she meddles, the deeper she falls for him, and soon, her own heart is on the line. This film was way ahead of its time. It seamlessly blends romance, comedy, and the supernatural, all set against the smoky artistic backdrop of 1950s Greenwich Village. Novak is absolutely mesmerizing as Gillian, equal parts sultry and vulnerable, giving a fresh and alluring spin on the classic witch archetype. Meanwhile, Stewart steps out of his usual everyman roles, bringing unexpected warmth and charm to this magical affair. Mildred Pierce, 1945. Mildred Pierce isn't just a film, it's an emotional roller coaster packed with betrayal, ambition, and heartache. Released in 1945 and masterfully directed by Michael Curtis, this classic cemented Joan Crawford's legacy, giving her the most career-defining role of all time. Mildred is a woman scorned, left to pick up the pieces after her cheating husband walks out on her, but she refuses to be a victim. With sheer grit and relentless determination, she claws her way from struggling waitress to the powerful owner of a booming restaurant empire. Yet, success comes at a devastating cost. Her own daughter, Veda, played with chilling intensity by Anne Blyth, is a manipulative, ungrateful force of destruction. Veda is the absolute worst, entitled, cruel, and never satisfied. satisfied. She mocks Mildred for working, sneers at her humble beginnings, and constantly demands more, no matter how much her mother sacrifices. Mildred fights tooth and nail to give Veda everything, but in return, nothing but heartbreak. This twisted mother-daughter dynamic takes an even darker turn when Mildred's second husband is found murdered. Suddenly, she's thrust into a chilling police investigation, forcing her to face the brutal consequences of her sacrifices. After everything she's done, is Mildred a victim, or could she be something more? Joan Crawford's performance is nothing short of legendary. Her raw, powerhouse acting earned her a well-deserved Academy Award for Best Actress, a career-defining triumph that put her back on top. The film racked up 5 more Oscar nominations, including Best Picture, proving just how gripping this story truly is. Mildred Pierce is the perfect storm of family drama and shadowy film noir, blending ruthless ambition, class struggles, Arsenic and Old Lace, 1944. Arsenic and Old Lace, 1944, is a wickedly funny dark comedy that takes murder and mayhem and turns them into pure entertainment. Directed by the legendary Frank Capra and starring the endlessly charismatic Cary Grant, this film delivers a hilariously twisted take on family dysfunction with a body count. Grant shines as Mortimer Brewster, a drama critic who has loudly declared marriage to be a waste of time, until, of course, he suddenly ties the knot with his sweetheart, Elaine Harper, Priscilla Lane. But just as he's ready to celebrate, he stumbles upon a horrifying, yet Cary Grant is an absolute riot in one of his most over-the-top, physically comedic performances. Fun trivia: the film was actually finished in 1941, but thanks to contractual obligations tied to the Broadway play it was based on, audiences had to wait until 1944 to witness its twisted hilarity. Its flawless blend of slapstick humor, razor-sharp dialogue, and eerie charm makes it an absolute must-watch. Even today, it stands as a comedic masterpiece. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, 1956. The original Invasion of the Body Snatchers isn't just a sci-fi horror classic, it's a terrifying reflection of Cold War paranoia. While the 1978 remake starring Donald Sutherland often gets more attention, Don Siegel's 1956 version, set in a seemingly quiet California town, the story follows Dr. Miles Bennell, Kevin McCarthy, who starts noticing something deeply disturbing. His patients are convinced that their loved ones aren't who they claim to be. Something is off. But is it just paranoia, or is something far more sinister taking over? As Miles digs deeper, he stumbles upon a horrifying revelation. Alien plant-like creatures are silently taking over. These eerie invaders don't attack with weapons or brute force. Instead, they grow perfect copies of human beings, replacing them with cold, soulless duplicates. The worst part? No one notices until it's too late. This chilling concept wasn't just science fiction, it mirrored America's deep-seated fear of hidden enemies infiltrating society. Decades later, Invasion of the Body Snatchers remains a haunting blend of sci-fi and social commentary, proving that some fears never fade. The Killers, 1946. The Killers is film noir at its absolute peak, a moody, suspenseful, and utterly gripping masterpiece. Directed by Robert Siodmak and based on Ernest Hemingway's short story, this film doesn't just adapt Hemingway's work, it transforms it into a dark, intricate crime thriller packed with mystery and betrayal. It all begins with a bang. Two ruthless hitmen stroll into a small-town diner, hunting for a man known as the Swede, Burt Lancaster, making a jaw-dropping film debut. But instead of running or fighting back, the Swede simply accepts his fate, allowing them to kill him without a struggle. Why? That's the mystery that drives the entire film. Enter insurance investigator Jim Reardon, Edmund O'Brien, who becomes obsessed with uncovering the truth. As he digs deeper, he unravels a twisted web of crime, deception, and deadly double crosses. And at the heart of it all, the stunning but dangerously manipulative Kitty Collins, Ava Gardner, the ultimate femme fatale. She lures the Swede into a high-stakes bank heist led by a cold-blooded mastermind, sealing his tragic fate. With its shadow-drenched cinematography, morally corrupt characters, and a sense of doom hanging over every frame, The Killers is everything that makes film noir legendary. Their on-screen chemistry crackles with tension, creating one of the most unforgettable pairings in noir history. The film racked up 4 Academy Award nominations, including Best Director and Best Film Editing, cementing its status as a cinematic triumph. Indiscreet, 1958. 1958. Indiscreet, 1958, is pure charm, wit, and romance, fueled by the sizzling chemistry between Ingrid Bergman and Cary Grant. Directed by Stanley Donen, this film lets Bergman step away from her intense dramatic roles, revealing a playful, enchanting side that's simply irresistible. Bergman stars as Anna Kalman, a glamorous yet world-weary actress in London who has given up on love, until Philip Adams, Cary Grant, a suave and sophisticated diplomat, enters her life like a whirlwind. Their romance seems like a fairy tale, until Anna uncovers a shocking truth. Philip isn't exactly the unattached bachelor he pretends to be. What follows is a delicious game of love, deception, and razor-sharp banter, all unfolding in the dazzling world of London's elite. With its stylish direction, clever script, and two legendary leads at their most charming, Indiscreet is a romantic comedy that's impossible to resist. Cary Grant's effortless comedic timing and Ingrid Bergman's graceful transition into lighthearted romance make them an absolute dream to watch. It Happened One Night, 1934. Film buffs and classic cinema lovers know It Happened One Night as one of Frank Capra's greatest screwball comedies, but shockingly, many casual movie fans have never seen it or even heard of it. This film didn't just set the gold standard for romantic comedies, it helped invent the genre. Clark Gable plays a rebellious, fast-talking reporter, and Claudette Colbert is a spoiled runaway heiress. Their paths collide on a bus from Miami to New York, and before they know it, they're stuck together. What follows is a wild, cross-country adventure filled with hilarious mishaps, hitchhiking disasters, fake marriage schemes, and even a night spent sleeping on a farm under the stars. One of the film's most famous moments, when Colbert's character, frustrated by Gable's failed attempt to hitch a ride, casually lifts her skirt and sticks out her bare leg, immediately stopping a car in its tracks. It's an iconic scene that has been copied endlessly, though many don't realize this is where it all started. Charade, 1963. If Alfred Hitchcock didn't direct Charade, you'd never know it. It's hands down the most Hitchcockian film he never made. This stylish thriller follows Regina Lampert, Audrey Hepburn, who returns to Paris after a dreamy ski trip where she falls for the charming Peter Joshua, Cary Grant. But paradise shatters fast. Her husband is murdered, and suddenly she's being hunted by three of his former WB2 associates, all after a missing fortune of stolen money. Is a walking enigma. Just when Regina starts to trust him, he changes his name. Again, who is he really? Can she even trust him at all? From start to finish, Charade is a roller coaster of suspense, humor, and sizzling chemistry. The Holly and the Ivy, 1952. A deeply moving British drama, The Holly and the Ivy takes the warmth of a Christmas family gathering and layers it with heartbreak, tension, and long-buried secrets. Adapted from a successful West End play and directed by George Moore O'Farrell, the film boasts powerhouse performances from Ralph Richardson, Celia Johnson, and Margaret Leighton. Set in a quiet English village, the story follows a seemingly traditional holiday reunion at the home of Reverend Martin Gregory Richardson. Every year, his family gathers to celebrate Christmas, but this time, the air is thick with unspoken pain. As emotions boil over and old wounds reopen, the family is forced to confront their past. The Holly and the Ivy is a beautifully bittersweet reflection on family, forgiveness, and the emotional weight the holidays can bring. Miracle on 34th Street, 1947. Few Christmas films capture the magic of the season quite like Miracle on 34th Street. A beloved holiday classic in the United States, this heartwarming story has enchanted audiences for generations with its perfect blend of whimsy, warmth, and a touch of courtroom drama. It all begins on Thanksgiving Day in New York City, when Macy's planned Santa Claus turns up, of all things, drunk. In a twist of fate, an elderly gentleman named Kris Kringle, Edmund Gwenn, is brought in to replace him. But Kris isn't just playing Santa. He insists he's the real Santa Claus. With his undeniable charm and twinkling kindness, he quickly becomes a beloved figure at the Macy's 34th Street store, spreading Christmas cheer to children and adults alike. However, not everyone is convinced. His pragmatic boss, Doris Walker, Maureen O'Hara, sees Kris as a potential liability. What starts as skepticism soon escalates into a full-blown legal battle, one that questions not just Kris's sanity, but the very essence of belief and the magic of Christmas itself. At its heart, reminding us all that sometimes the most unbelievable things are the ones worth believing in. Bundle of Joy, 1956. Bundle of Joy is a festive, feel-good musical that overflows with charm, comedy, and holiday cheer. A delightful remake of the 1939 film Bachelor Mother. This version is extra special thanks to its real-life Hollywood sweethearts, Eddie Fisher and Debbie Reynolds, whose natural chemistry brings warmth and magic to the screen. Reynolds shines as Polly Parrish, a hardworking but down-on-her-luck salesgirl at a bustling New York City department store. Just before Christmas, she loses her job, but fate has other plans. When she stumbles upon an abandoned baby left on the store's doorstep, misstep. A massive misunderstanding leads everyone to believe she is the child's mother. To help, the store kindly rehires her, but the mix-ups don't stop there. Things take an even wilder turn when the baby is mistaken as the secret love child of the store owner's son, Dan Merlin, Eddie Fisher. As Polly and Dan get caught up in one ridiculous misunderstanding after another, their bickering slowly turns to sparks, and romance begins to bloom. Packed with joyful musical numbers, including Fisher's signature smooth vocals, Bundle of Joy is a perfect holiday treat. Its mix of laughter, love, and toe-tapping tunes makes it a Christmas classic that still melts hearts today. White Christmas, 1954. Few holiday films capture the magic of the season quite like White Christmas. A dazzling blend of music, comedy, and heartfelt storytelling, this 1954 classic remains a festive favorite, filled with unforgettable performances and timeless charm. The story begins during World War II in Europe, where Captain Bob Wallace, Bing Crosby, a Broadway star-turned-soldier, teams up with quick-witted Private Phil Davis, Danny Kaye, to put on a morale-boosting show for their fellow troops. Their shared love of performing sparks an unbreakable friendship, and after the war, they take their talents to the stage, becoming a hugely successful musical duo. As Christmas nears, Wallace and Davis cross paths with the dazzling Haynes sisters, Rosemary Clooney and Vera Ellen, two performers with star power of their own. The group heads to a picturesque Vermont inn for the holidays, only to find it nearly deserted. The reason? Their beloved former commanding officer, General Waverly, owns the inn, and a snowless winter has left his business struggling to survive. Determined to repay the general for his years of service, the quartet hatches a grand idea: stage a spectacular holiday show with its themes of friendship, love, and the joy of giving. This heartwarming classic continues to enchant audiences year after year. It's a Wonderful Life, 1946. Today, It's a Wonderful Life is one of the most beloved holiday films ever made, but believe it or not, it wasn't always that way. Its path to becoming a Christmas classic was anything but smooth. Before it hit the big screen, the story went through multiple transformations. Originally a self-published book, it drew inspiration from Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, but when the film was released in 1946, it flopped at the box office, failing to make back its budget. But fate had other plans. When the film slipped into the public domain, television networks began airing it constantly during the holiday season. The result? Audiences fell in love with its heartfelt message, and over time, it became a must-watch Christmas tradition. James Stewart delivers a powerhouse performance as George Bailey, a man crushed by life's struggles and on the verge of giving up entirely. But heaven intervenes, sending Clarence, Henry Travers, a guardian angel desperate to earn his wings, on a mission to show George just how much his life truly matters. As Clarence guides him through a series of eye-opening and emotional moments, It's a Wonderful Life remains an essential holiday classic. Decades later, its message still resonates, reminding audiences everywhere that even the smallest acts of kindness can change the world. City Lights, 1931. City Lights isn't just one of Charlie Chaplin's most cherished films, it's a silent-era masterpiece. Released in 1931, when Hollywood was fully embracing talkies, Chaplin took a bold risk by sticking to the silent format, and it paid off in spectacular fashion. Chaplin wore all the hats in this production. He starred, wrote, directed, produced, and even composed the film's music. The story follows his beloved character, the tramp, who falls head over heels for a blind flower girl, Virginia Cheryl, and strikes up an unlikely friendship with a troubled but wealthy man. Determined to help the girl regain her sight, the tramp embarks on a journey filled with humor, sacrifice, and pure heart, culminating in one of the most emotionally powerful endings in cinema history. Shockingly, City Lights didn't win a single Academy Award, but that hasn't stopped it from being hailed as one of the greatest films of all time. Fun fact, Chaplin's perfectionism was on full display during production. He reportedly shot over 300 takes just to get one scene with the flower girl exactly right. With its flawless mix of comedy and deeply moving storytelling, City Lights is a shining example of the pure magic that defined Hollywood's golden age. Each of these films proves why Hollywood's golden era was truly cinematic magic. From Chaplin's heartfelt silent masterpieces to the sizzling chemistry of Hepburn and Grant, these classics continue to captivate audiences and shape the films we love today.